There are some things that are going on in Bible prophecy that I thought I might bring to you tonight. And no, it's not the article that states that Iran is sending warships close to the U.S. border. Frankly, that is an overblown statement. And many, I believe, and probably in the Bible prophecy world, will try to exploit that and turn that into something that it's really not. But what I do think has some significance is an article coming out of the Jerusalem Post that states, will NATO pacify the Middle East? And I'm sure many of you have heard, and I think I brought it up several times, that Mahmoud Abbas is proposing that NATO protect Israel and act as a peacekeeping unit while the Palestinian state is being created. And what the heading indicates, the subheading anyway, it says Abbas's proposal that the American-led alliance safeguard Israeli-Palestinian peace might not suit its commanders as they consider their journey over the past 25 years. Now, frankly, I think this is probably going to play a major part in the peace accord when, in fact, it does come. But as Israel knows that over the last 65 years, this has not been a very good position for them to find themselves relying upon foreign troops to keep a peace accord. But nonetheless, I do believe it's going to play a major role in what peace will come in the future. And I don't know if the United States will head this up, but the Bible does indicate that it will probably be a European Union leader. But whatever the case may be, I think this is something that definitely needs to be watched because I think it's going to play a major role in when the peace is brought. Now, you might ask yourself, well, when is that going to be? Well, I don't think it's going to be it's as far away as people think it might be. Of course, I have no date for when that's going to be, just as I have no date for the rapture of the church. But I do believe the rapture of the church is going to take place before this peace accord does come about. Now, here's something I thought was interesting in the article. It says, a Palestinian admission of NATO is the simplest of the three consents this idea would require. It says, true, Abbas's statement is not known to have been preceded by much of a debate, let alone approval process within the Palestinian leadership. It might yet encounter opposition to indefinite foreign presence on what Islamist radicals are likely to present as a defilement of Arab land. The jury is still out as to the sincerity of the proposal, which some believe is but a ploy to divert attention from Abbas's refusal to recognize Israel as a Jewish state. So going on with the first statement is that no, it has not been approved by the Palestinian people for a foreign presence in an Islamic land. This could still yet serve as a major stumbling block to what Abbas is proposing. And secondly, as we know, one of the major sticking points that Israel loves to throw in the face of the Palestinians is that they must recognize Israel as a Jewish state before they will sign any peace proposal. But one of the problems that keeps cropping up is that with both Jordan and Egypt, in their peace proposals, they never had to recognize Israel as a Jewish state. So that, I think, in time is going to have to be dropped or will be dropped as part of any peace proposal. I mean, Israel has been using it as a stop-gap type proposal, knowing that there's no way that the Palestinians will ever recognize Israel as a Jewish-only state. So I look for the future peace proposal, the one that will actually come about, to have that completely removed. And going on with the second part of this particular excerpt, it says, then again, for the Palestinians, the NATO idea is a relatively low-stakes gamble. NATO's deployment between Jericho and Nablus would fulfill the Palestinian strategic aim of extracting Israel from the West Bank and would not involve much of a Palestinian concession, as in any case, negotiators take it as a given that the Palestinian state would be demilitarized. And what they're saying is this right here, is that, hey, the Palestinians recognize the fact that they're going to have to be demilitarized anyway. There will be no Palestinian state that will be created that has a national army. They know that already going into it. So the next best thing is to bring in an international force such as NATO that completely removes Israel. Basically what they're doing is taking the genie out of the bottle, getting Israel completely out of the West Bank, and leaving a relatively weak NATO international force in the area, just as they did back in the early to mid-1950s when Egypt mobilized an army on the coast of Israel and threatened to attack. That basically sent the peacekeeping unit scrambling, and that was all there was to it. So whether or not this new NATO presence will be of any consequence or force to keep the peace is yet to be seen. But in the past, there hasn't been much to show for in which NATO or any other type of UN presence has been effective. But frankly, I see that to be the springboard in which the Gog and Magog war will begin. Once the Palestinian state has been created and all the I's have been dotted and the T's crossed on the plan, and it is implemented and phased in, I have a sneaking suspicion that that will be when Russia will come calling upon Israel and bring their Arab neighbors with them. So what do I see for the future? I see a Palestinian state being created probably sooner than later. I don't necessarily believe the United States will be in the leadership role of bringing that at the time. What will remove them from the leadership is unknown at this point in time. Probably frustration over heading nowhere, going nowhere with this proposal. I believe that the European Union or the P5+1 will come in, and through that world body, I believe that the Antichrist will rise, either through the European Union or through the P5+1. And he will bring about a peace accord with Israel and many. So it's probably likely that it will also include Iran, Syria, and the Arab League that will come to bat for the Palestinian Authority. And Palestine will be created in the West Bank. It will be a phased-in type of peace accord. Right now, Abbas is proposing that the UN or NATO will be have international force for the next 5 years, but I think it'll finally be settled upon at 7 years. At the end of the 7 years, I believe that all forces will be phased out, all international forces, I should say, and that it will be capped off by the creation of a Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as the capital. That will be the proposed plan, and I believe Israel at some point in time will accept it. Certainly it will be a deceptive plan, because I think that pretty much right toward the beginning of the tribulation period, I believe that this Russian invasion will take place. And of course, the Lord will intervene and destroy the invading armies. There's one thing that should be pointed out, that when this war is about to commence, Jordan or Saudi Arabia will object and to this particular war taking place, which in my opinion is a very big question mark as to the validity of a Psalm 83 war, because as I've said many times, that if the Psalm 83 war preceded the Gog and Magog war, why in the world would Saudi Arabia object to the destruction of Israel by Russia and and by the Islamic world? But that's what the Bible says will happen, that Saudi Arabia will object to this attack. And as we know, many who have theorized this Psalm 83 war have said that it will take, the Psalm 83 war will precede it, but not by very much time, the Gog and Magog war, which means that it will take place almost in a boom-boom type situation, in which one war will take place, then the other one will be on the heels of the first one. So I have a hard time believing that that will be how it will be played out, based upon the fact that I just can't imagine that Saudi Arabia would object to seeing Israel destroyed after they had already been defeated by Israel and much of their land taken. But you decide. I believe the Bible is pretty clear on how that's going to play out. And as always, if you don't know the Lord, you need to make that decision as quickly as possible. And secondly, if you do know the Lord and you have loved ones who simply have not been listening or will not listen to you as you tell them about the Lord, you need to get my Tribulation Period Survival Guide paperback book in their hands. As I said to many, they may think it's a joke, they may laugh at it at first, but once the rapture takes place, they'll stop laughing and they'll take this book seriously. You can rest assured that the gospel of Jesus Christ is represented in this book on several occasions, and there's no doubt that they will have multiple occasions to come into the Lord as they read this book. So I would encourage you to make this investment in your friends, family, and loved ones, because once you're gone, once the rapture of the church takes place, this may be the only tool available that will give them a clear and concise gospel message and provide a map for them to actually survive the tribulation period. So if this is something you'd like to do, just click the link below and it will take you to where you can get a copy or multiple copies of this particular book. Well, this is Terry Malone with the Calvary Prophecy Report.